David Phillips is alongside me. David, is this a harder test tonight? Brentford now know what they're facing.
Yes, I think that it will be, and in respect to Grimsby, David Artell was full of praise for Brentford, and he even turned around and said they are a more established, more organised side that they're going to be playing tonight than when they played Manchester United just a couple of games ago in the Cup. But as we know with Brentford, as you're right to say, things are materialising really, really well. 3 wins in their last 4, a fantastic result against Liverpool at the weekend, and they will be thinking they've got a great opportunity of getting into the quarter-finals of the Cup this year.
What a night it was here just a couple of months back. Incredible scenes. And here we are once more with League 2 Grimsby facing Premier League opposition and just one step away from the last 8. And just listen to that noise. The captain, Kieran Green, leads out Grimsby. He's been a mainstay of this side. They play some good football under David Artell, but they're tough and resilient as well. And they will provide a stern test for Brentford this evening. Let's take a look at the teams for you. Grimsby are at full strength, or close to it. The absence of free scoring. Jamie Walker, a bit of a surprise. He's got 4 in his last 6, but only makes the bench. Tyrell Warren, who scored against United, hasn't recovered from a knock at the weekend, so Sam Lavelle comes into the back 4. Jays Cabia, who was firing Truro City to the National League South title last season, gets the nod up front. And watch out for George McEachran, younger brother of Josh, at the base of midfield. Lovely technical player. Keith Andrews gives opportunities to some of his fringe players as promised, but it's a pretty experienced lineup. The 20-year-old Benjamin Arthur makes his second start at the back alongside Sepp van der Berg and Ethan Pinnock. He may play it right back. That's how it looked in the warm-up. We expect Lewis Potter and Rico Henry to operate as wing-backs, but remains to be seen. Onyeka and Jensen add steel and know-how in midfield, and the record signing Dango Ouattara starts, having scored on Saturday against Liverpool.
Well, with 6 goals and 5 assists so far this season, you have to say that 29-year-old Charles Vernon is having one of his most productive seasons. A Man of the Match award for his performance against Manchester United was duly awarded, and Brentford have to be concerned if they give away any sort of free kicks around the 18-yard box, because he is ruthless. And then when you look at Ouattara, he's just come into the Brentford side for a record transfer fee from Bournemouth, for whom he scored 7 Premier League goals last year. He started the season off well, he scored a couple already, and he got the opener against Liverpool at the weekend. He's got power, he's got pace, he can go left, he can go right, and he will be a threat for the Grimsby back unit tonight.
Thomas Kirk is your man in charge this evening. His first season as a championship official, and the first time that he takes charge of a Brentford fixture. And what an atmosphere for it. One of the oldest stadiums in the Football League, but they make quite a racket. David Artell was saying he'd never heard a noise like it against Manchester United. And you can hear them once again. Oh, what a job this man has done. One of the pre-season favourites for the chop. But Brentford just continue to go from strength to strength, and the transition thus far has been seamless. Impressive character. David Artell, meticulous, has improved the club year on year, been here 2 seasons now, finished 9th last season. That was their highest finish since returning to the Football League. He's thoughtful. He likes to develop players as men and technically. And he's really got this Grimsby side firing. Away we go. Brentford, of course, in their change strip, the light blue. Early challenge by Lavelle. and he wins the free kick.
Yeah, very important that Grimsby get a good start, just as they have done. Just a little foul there from Carvalho, but just looking at the lineup, it does look as if Brentford are going to go as a 4-2-3-1. Reece Nelson on the left-hand side, Lewis Potter to the right, Carvalho just in behind Dango Ouattara.
Yeah, Keith Andrews been pretty flexible with his formation so far this season. Occasionally played a back three with wing-backs, and he's gone to a 4. Can Grimsby start with that same momentum? 2 goals up inside half an hour against Manchester United. Absolute pandemonium inside this stadium. And they're on the front foot straight away, showing good composure. Kieran Green it was bursting forward, and maybe a chance to get the ball in the box. Big favourite here, Kieran Green, the captain. He and Evan Corey will just sit in front of George McEachran. Bit of licence to get forward, get in the box. And that has gone behind for a Brentford goal kick.
Yeah, the one thing that Keith Andrews would be looking for is a little bit of momentum, where they picked off Liverpool at the weekend. It was a very impressive performance. We know that they've made 9 changes from that game, but when you have a look at the spine of the side, it's just full of internationals. So they will be a threat, especially going forward, because in transition, even though that there's a couple of players not playing this evening, this is what Keith Andrews has been instilling into his squad.
So much experience in this Brentford lineup, despite the changes. Pinnock and Vandenberg at the back, on Yecker and Jensen in the midfield, and Lewis Potter there. Well, he's made that transition back to left wing back, hasn't he, on plenty of occasions. From not too far down the road, Hull, about 35 miles, knows these parts reasonably well.
No, he had a terrific season last year, as you're right to say. He's very versatile. Had to come in and step in mostly as a left back last year because of the horrible injury to Rico Henry, who was out for a long time. But good to see that he's been picked for tonight.
Grimsby starting with a good intensity and showing some composure on the ball. Strong start from the home side. Couldn't quite pick out Vernon. As David says, goal scorer against Manchester United, and what a goal that was. Wonderful technique. Lit up this old stadium. Brentford go more direct, and Lavelle does well. Here's McEachran. It's forward by Harvey Rogers. And Dara Burns. And Grimsby just asking 1 or 2 questions in these early exchanges.
Well, being the side from League Two, they've settled in really well. And I'm sure that David Artell would have been saying to his players, listen, you've gone and beaten Manchester United, you've gone and beaten Sheffield Wednesday, you've got a home tie, you've got 9,000 spectators in front of you. We will be the side to go and be beaten tonight.
Yeah, it's a free hit, isn't it, for Grimsby? League Two side, sitting in the playoff places. Got an FA Cup fixture here on Saturday against Ebbsfleet. Bit of a change, that one. They can enjoy tonight, they can go for it. Jaden Sweeney just challenging Lewis Potter. Now, this man has been very impressive in his fledgling head coach career.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are a lot of people out there speculating that he would be the first Premier League manager to get the sack. That's really not being a manager before, just being a set-piece coach and first-team coach at Sheffield United. But he's come along and done an unbelievable job.
Certainly has. Started coaching at 29 years of age when he was still a player at Blackburn Rovers. Coached the under-14s. Been on quite a journey, worked under Chris Wilder at Sheffield United, with the Irish team as well. He's learnt his trade, and the hierarchy at Brentford clearly felt he was the right man for the job. So far, they've been proved right.
And the one thing that he does as well is he picks the bones off a lot of very, very experienced managers. I know that he was having dinner with Roy Hodgson not that long ago. Tony Pulis as well, one of those to give his thoughts, etc. So he is going to the right people.
Given away by Rico Henry on a rare forage forward in these early moments. Just tidied up by McEachran. Cabia playing as the lone striker up there for Grimsby. Well, they've settled, haven't they, Grimsby? Doesn't appear to be too many nerves. Getting straight to the task in hand and hoping for one more special night here. Back from Vandenberg. And Valdi Marson, the keeper tonight. He's been starting in the Carabao Cup. Back up to Caoimhin Kelleher. Forward by Vandenberg. That is cut out by Sweeney. Maybe a chance for Brentford to break forward here through Carvalho, but he's dispossessed well by Sweeney. Only 9,000 inside this stadium or thereabouts. Feels like a lot more right now. One of those fixtures that's captured the imagination of the town, of the area. Been through some tough times. And having something to shout about on the football pitch so important as Brentford come forward here through Lewis Potter. Missed by Rodgers. Might be a chance for Nelson. Worrying moments at the back for Grimsby. Chance now to break. Forward by Corey. Vernon cuts inside. We know that he can shoot. Harvey Rodgers venturing forward. And that will be a throw-in for the home side.
Yeah, slightly worrying moments there for Grimsby, but eventually it was well defended by Rodgers as Reece Nelson was trying to get his shot away. And then you can see quite quickly how they are in transition. Ball out to Vernon from the left-hand side, over to the right, and there we have a nice throw-in inside the final third.
Likes to get forward as Rodgers. Here he is again. The whistle has gone.
Yeah, I think you're right in what you're saying in respect of Grimsby Town. They've settled really well, and you mentioned being an old-fashioned ground, very, very close to the actual pitch as well.
Here's Pinnock. Tries to find Henry. Just too much on that one. Believe it or not, never won a major trophy in their 136-year history, Brentford. Now may well be the time. Such has been their evolution, the journey they've been on, the improvements in the club, the infrastructure, the quality on the pitch. These next few years might be their moment.
Well, I think it was Keith Andrews who was saying 16 years ago this was a League Division 2 fixture. So you can see how they have come on during those 16 years. Fantastic stadium. And they're one of those clubs, very similar to Bournemouth. Not the biggest of clubs, but I tell you what, they're managed really well.
Yeah, it really is remarkable what Brentford have achieved. It's a nice crossfield pass. Tries to find Lewis Potter. And that goes behind.
Yeah, he's normally better than that. Lewis Potter. It's a great little ball into his path, and he's got to hit it with a nice little side foot, but you can see the amount of black and white shirts inside of that 18-yard box. Good ball from Jensen. And then just really a bit of a miscue. Trying to find Atwara, but goes out for a goal kick.
Important to say that Brentford have named a very strong bench tonight. The likes of Kevin Schade, Thiago, their top goal scorer, Damsgaard, Vitaly Janelt. So plenty of options from the bench should they need them. Clearly it was in Keith Andrews' mind that it might come to that. He wants some weapons at his disposal. It's tied it up by Onyeka. But put behind for a Grimsby corner.
Yeah, no real pressure was there from Onyeka. Miscue there, but it gives Grimsby a great opportunity. We mentioned before about Vernon, set plays. He'll be looking to swing this one in.
Well, Brentford are a big physical side, but we know that Grimsby are a threat from set pieces. Lavelle is forward. So too McYanno. Decent looking cross as well. And Thomas Kirk has seen an infringement in there.
Or just try something a little bit different rather than just swinging that ball in to start off with. But as you're right to say, they are a threat from set plays. They also have to say that is the same with Brentford as well. So they've got a great set piece coach as a manager, haven't they?
Yep, he was the set-piece coach here under Thomas Frank, of course. What a summer of transition it was, losing a legendary manager, and he was a legendary manager for sure, Thomas Frank, to Tottenham Hotspur, and then the likes of Johan Wissa, Brian Burmo, and the captain, of course, Norgard. Losing so many key players, but still Brentford continue on and on. Not the best of touches from Django Ouattara, their record signing.
It was virtually the whole of the spine left, didn't they? When you think about Mark Flecken, the goalkeeper, as well. But they've gone and brought in Kelleher, an excellent goalkeeper from Liverpool. But I say they've been very smart with their acquisitions. And also with the coaching side as well. They haven't always looked outside as well. They have given the roles internally as well.
That's a lovely ball wide by McEachran, who's showing up well in his early stages. Darragh Burns cuts inside, now comes for Green. Has bodies forward. Might come all the way for Vernon. Couldn't quite get his shot away, couldn't get any power on the strike.
Well, firstly, it's good movement down this near side, and now you can see Green stands it up towards the far post. I just wonder if Vernon could have backtracked a little bit quicker, and then maybe a little bit of a scissor kick, etc. But we know what touch he has, especially with the goal that he scored against Manchester United. He's having a great season this year.
Yeah, good technical player in his second spell with the club, signed by Russell Slade initially, and had a period with Burton. Certainly an effective wide player in League Two.
I think Russell Slade signed him for Coventry as well, didn't he? But I don't think that Russell Slade lasted that long.
I knew you'd find a way to get Coventry in there somehow. I was waiting for it.
He wasn't the greatest of managers, I have to say, for Coventry.
Good football again from the home side. Not hurried in possession. Here's Lavelle. Janet. Neat passage of play once again. Now Lavelle with space to run into. Rodgers venturing forward once again. And gets it now. Darragh Burns has Reece Nelson for company. Good stuff, this, from the League Two side. And the home fans are enjoying this. How they would love another goal to celebrate against a Premier League team. The roof nearly came off this place. Here's Harvey Rodgers. Good-looking ball, only partially cleared by Pinnock, I think it was. A bit of work here to do for McJannet, who does well. Just under a bit of pressure.
Well, firstly, I have to say the pace of McJannet to start off with, because I know that Ouattara is no slouch. But certainly when you look at Grimsby, they're getting a lot of joy down this right-hand side. And I think there with Rico Henry, he needs a little bit more help from Reiss Nelson, because he is getting overloaded.
Yeah, been a tough few seasons for Reiss Nelson, getting a rare start tonight on the left-hand side, on loan from Arsenal. Had a lot of injury problems. The kind of night where he needs to make an impact. Brentford need him to. It's Benjamin Arthur. Forward by Carvalho. Just floating around in those pockets as he tends to do. Onyeka penalised there. Well, he'll be impressed with the start his side have made. Yeah, good momentum.
Yeah, I think they've settled down really well. Obviously a lot of pressure on them, thinking they're just going to be overrun by this side who beat Liverpool 3-2 at the weekend. We know there's a host of changes, but they're still squad members. There's still a lot of expectancy from this Brentford unit. But Grimsby, I think they've settled down better of the two sides so far.
Yeah, they do use the ball well.
Good 40-50 yards diagonal out to this near side, but had that great awareness just to cushion that header back to his goalkeeper. So when you look along that back line for Grimsby, there's a lot of experience there, isn't there? I know that Jaden Sweeney's the youngest at 23, but they're holding a good line at this moment in time, and I think so far Brentford have been caught offside 2 or 3 times.
Lovely touch again, just frees Vernon. Might be a chance for Rodgers, who can hit them. Harvey Rodgers now comes for Green. It's good stuff again from the home side, in by Burns, and a chance at the far post, which Curry might have done better with. These are encouraging spells for Grimsby Town of League Two. They're at it again against Premier League opponents.
Well, as I mentioned, a lot of the issues that Brentford are having are down this right-hand side. This is a great ball from Burns towards the far post. I just wonder whether or not Arthur just puts off Curry towards the end, but he's really got to go and believe and be proactive and think, well, he's going to go and miss that, and be a little bit more positive. But again, an excellent spell for Grimsby Town.
Using the ball so intelligently, are they? Not flustered at all with almost 20 minutes gone. So many big sides left in this competition. Is there one more historic night in store for Grimsby Town? If they can get through this evening, anything is possible after that United win, that's for sure.
We know the league form just recently hasn't been as good as what it was before the Manchester United game, but they still believe and trust in each other, and I'm sure that David Artell would have been saying to them, look, OK, they are a Premier League side, but the sooner we settle, the sooner we think about how we're actually going to overcome this unit, the better. And so far, after 20 minutes, you'd have to say that Artell, his words of wisdom are working well so far.
Yeah, you wonder how much emotionally that Manchester United win took out of them. So many plaudits, media attention. Might have been hard to go back to the day job after that, mightn't it?
It might have been, but don't forget they went to Sheffield Wednesday in the next round, and then they won 1-0. We know Sheffield Wednesday, what's going on there at this moment in time, and a lot of thoughts with the fans and the players, etc. But still, they had to go and do a job with a championship side. So you talk about the emotions, maybe that emotion has come after the Sheffield Wednesday game.
It's rather given away. Lewis Potter picks it up, and a shot from distance, and Brentford are in front. It's Matthias Jensen with a lovely strike. Grimsby will be kicking themselves, but the Premier League side are in front.
Well, when we have a look at this again, they've just got their pocket picked, haven't they? Trying to get themselves out of that area over on that left-hand side. But sometimes this is what happens when you play against Premier League sides. They become very ruthless, not close down quick enough, and you can see at one stage that he's going to go and play it towards the right post, but don't watch the eyes, Christy Pym. He's going to put it the other way. It's an excellent strike, but really, Grimsby, they try to get themselves out of a tricky situation, but Jensen gets the opening goal.
A strike of Premier League quality from the captain for the evening, Matthias Jensen. And you have to say, it's very much against the run of play. And Cameron McJanet will not want to see that one again.
But this is football, isn't it? And this is what happens when you play a Premier League side. They become very ruthless in front of goal. Grimsby have had a couple of decent opportunities, although Valder Martin's not really had a shot to save as such. Couple of decent opportunities, especially resulting from this right-hand side. Good balls in from Dara Burns and also from Green. But you have to say that the strike from Matthias Jensen was an excellent one.
Yeah, wonderful strike from Matthias Jensen. Been here for a long time. 10 years it'll be next year. Was with the club in their championship days. Maybe a chance here, though, for Grimsby to strike back. The ball is cleared by Pinnock. Only as far as Corey. And Kabia, who's been quiet so far, not had too much service, wins the throw. Here's Burns. Onyeka half clears. But Grimsby have it back once again. They need to settle down and find their composure, keep building. Made a great start to the game. Undone by that Matthias Jensen strike. Here's Harvey Rogers. Burns again. Lovely football from Grimsby.
You can just see there that Kieran Green just strayed into an offside position. But you're right, just a one-touch, two-touch on this near side once again. Be interesting to see about Kabia as well, how many actually touches he's had of the ball. We know how prolific he was for Truro City last year, getting them promoted into the National League. Having a good season again so far this season, 7 in total.
Yeah, he's done well and preferred to Danny Rose, experienced striker tonight. Cameron Gardner, who started against Manchester United, the youngster, he's out until the new year. Plenty of good link-up play, though, from Grimsby. Plenty of touches for Dara Burns in these opening 25 minutes. Scored 2 penalties against United, the first and the last. Header is clear by Pinnock. Vernon got up well. Grimsby battling hard, but McEachran's beaten to it. And Brentford have numbers forward here. Battling hard. Reece Nelson does well to find space and does well to pick out Lewis Potter at the far post, and Brentford are 2 goals in front. 2 moments of Premier League quality, 2 goals. It's hard on Grimsby, but Lewis Potter makes it 2-0 to the Premier League side.
Well, this all really starts with that incisive run by Frank Onyeka, and then eventually when it comes to Reece Nelson, he's up against Harvey Rodgers, does really well, he gets himself towards the byline, and then just stands it up at the far post. And Lewis Potter, what he's got to do is got to have a nice connection with the head, as he does, and it's 2-0 to the away side. But you'd have to feel a little bit harshly done, Grimsby, because they've had great moments so far in the opening 26 minutes, but the 2 shots or 2 attempts that Brentford have had so far, they put into the back of the net.
Well, they do say that games at the highest level are decided by fine margins, David, and so it's proving.
Well, they are, but you have to say that, what, 40, 50 yards was the run from Onyeka. Great incisive bit of movement down the central areas, and eventually found Reece Nelson, and he's still got a lot of work to do. And he turns Rodgers inside out, but you don't expect him to go towards the byline and then stands it up. And it's a good header from Lewis Potter. Hasn't scored so far this season. As I said, very versatile. Played a lot of times last year as a left-back and left wing-back.
Yeah, he was saying that when Thomas Frank called him in to discuss playing a wing-back, he thought he'd done something wrong.
And if you think about it, last year, the amount of times that he played as well. Played nearly 30 times in the Premier League. And he's one of those unsung heroes, as we call them.
Yeah, good character, versatile, adaptable. And tonight, a goal scorer. Really was a good piece of play by Reece Nelson, though. Strong challenge there from Rodgers on Rico Henry. Yeah, he's had a tough few seasons, Reece Nelson, so deserves a mention for that assist. Did very well on loan at Fulham last season. Had a hamstring injury which curtailed that. Desperate for minutes and to find some fluency in his game. Well, he's getting that tonight.
And scenarios like that last one where he made that goal for Lewis Potter will give him a vast amount of confidence as well. As you say, tough times just recently. Went out on loan at Fulham last year, didn't play that many times. As you mentioned, injury-laden as well. And tonight given a good opportunity, as you're right to say, some good minutes. And it's always difficult as a manager when you have a squad like this. You want to come with one of your stronger sides against Grimsby Town, but you know that you have to give opportunities. I wouldn't say to fringe players, but to squad members. And he's done that tonight. Sometimes you can say, is it a bit of a gamble or not? Keith Andrews will say, at this present time, no, it's not. Albeit that I would say that Grimsby have started the game off really, really well, despite those 2 incidents.
Well, a bit of head scratching for David Artell. But he will know that those moments of real Premier League quality have been the difference. His side haven't done too much wrong in this opening half an hour. Can they find a way back into the contest? Need to find a goal before half-time. Just settle down again. Keep playing. It's a searching ball for Rico Henry again, who's in acres of space. Can he find a cross? He can! It's a good piece of defending in there by Lavelle, I think it was. Good feet by Jensen, the goal scorer. Doesn't win the free kick, though, and maybe a chance here for Cabia to break. Been quiet so far. Jace Cabia, just too much to do. Lacked a bit of support. And the danger is averted. Well, Brentford did reach the quarter-finals of this competition last year. Lost to the eventual winners Newcastle, 3-1. I do feel they're edging closer year on year to real success.
Originally, when they came into the Premier League, it was all about stability. And you have to say that they've done really well since they've come into the higher echelons of English football. As they've been well managed, well operated club in the black. Some of the transfer dealings were questionable by a lot of supporters, etc. But they have to admit that the board, the managers, have got absolutely spot on.
Yep, the owner Matthew Benham has really transformed the club. Data-driven model. Everything they do is pragmatic, thought through, of sound judgment. They make good appointments, they find good players, the recruitment is strong.
The only negativity I'd give at Brentford for their football club is that the media room's a little bit too small.
So picky, David. That's Arthur breaking forward, might get a second chance at it. Couldn't quite pick out a teammate. David complaining about media room sandwiches, while...
The food is excellent, by the way.
Oh, the food's okay.
Food is absolutely superb, spot on.
That's a relief. Here's Pinnock to Jensen. Don't need to force the game now, do they? Brentford happy in possession. Just wonder what Grimsby can do to force a way back into the contest, come up with some new ideas.
Well, you can see slowly that Brentford are having more and more possession, and that wasn't happening in the first 20 minutes. A lot of joy they were having down this right-hand side. Not so much just recently. They're now going further and further back towards their own goal. Brentford are now just thinking, well, we're more confident, but they don't want to become too complacent.
Yeah, that header from Evan Coury now looks really costly, doesn't it? Here's Onyeka, high and wide.
Yeah, that's one thing that Frank Onyeka is not great at, is scoring goals. When you have a look at his goal ratio, you can see that he's a very hard-working midfielder. You say he made that great run to play that ball into Reece Nelson to start off with for the second goal.
If you're David Artell now, how do you reorganise? How do you re-energise? How do you get momentum back in this game?
I'll be telling my players to just go and play a little bit higher, go and press a little bit more. Because when they started doing that, as I mentioned in the opening 20 minutes, they were getting a lot of results. And I keep on harping on about this right-hand side. It was a case that Reece Nelson really wasn't helping out with Rico Henry. And I think they just have to believe and trust in themselves once again. Go back to where they were. Things might change, but as we've alluded to, the two opportunities that Brentford had, they've gone and shoved away. And that is the difference about it being a bit of a more ruthless side. But they've still got to believe and trust in themselves. Still a long way to go in this game.
Understandably, just slightly lost their way here, Grimsby. Those two goals have taken it out of them. That's a nice ball, though, by Burns. Finds Vernon. Might find space to shoot. Now comes to Green. Should he have picked out a teammate?
Well, again, good movement, as you're right to say. Fantastic ball from Burns to start off with. But here, if you have a look at the two Grimsby players, they've both gone into the same area. That's the time where maybe one could have just stayed in around the 6-yard box. One could have possibly made the run towards the near post. But as it materialised, the cross was not a good cross, but could have been better.
The difference so far between the teams is the execution in those final moments. Brentford with two opportunities, two goals really. And Grimsby just a little wasteful at times in the final third when they get there. McEachran loses out. Goes behind off Rodgers for a Brentford corner. It was Jensen breaking forward. Well, you feel a third goal for the Premier League side would kill the contest. Plenty of height and physicality in this Brentford side. Not just technically good, but they're robust as well. Corner is partially cleared. Now Kabia can come away with it. Again, though, just rather overruns it. Rico Henry it was who was with him. Feeding off scraps, really, so far, Kabia, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's not really come into the game much at all. And I think that's where David Artell might be saying to his players, he's got to go and build off the centre forward. We know he's got an excellent strike rate. But there you see the opportunity of a one-on-one race against Rico Henry. We know that he's had his ACL injuries, hamstring injuries, etc. But Rico Henry has got pace to burn.
Do have Danny Rose on the bench, who's more of a traditional target man type. He might be needed at some point.
And it might be a case of just changing shape and playing two up top as well. And as you say, Danny Rose, a lot taller, more physical. But when you look at the back unit of Brentford as well, when you've got Vandenberg and Pinnock especially, they are physical specimens, aren't they, in those centre-half positions.
Was a real surprise that Jamie Walker wasn't included tonight. 4 in his last 6, the Scotsman. 2 on Saturday against Crewe. On the bench tonight is Carvalho coming forward. That's a good challenge. Burns does well. These are the moments that Grimsby need to capitalise on, and they can't.
There was a lack of telepathy between the two players there. Kabia was making the exact run where the ball was going to be played, but eventually when Burns plays it, he's got his head down and Kabia has just drifted over to the left-hand side. I think if Burns would have played that a little bit earlier, then Kabia might have been in.
If you're a Grimsby supporter, there's much to like about this first half. Plenty of endeavour. Options on the bench for David Artell, should he need them tonight. You fancy he will. Yeah, much to like about this Grimsby performance. If you're a home supporter, plenty of endeavour, fight, no little quality. But in the final action, just slightly lacking, and Brentford have punished them, been ruthless.
But still, they'll go into the half-time team talk, and I don't think a lot is going to change from Artell. He'll be saying to his players, you've asked the question, just go and press a little bit higher. They've had some good passages of play. But as you say, when they get into the final third, that's where the money counts, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Here's Arthur, playing at right back this evening, a centre-back by trade. Jensen. Nice touch. Collision between Rodgers and Reece Nelson, and the free kick goes Grimsby's way.
Well, just slightly under hit, wasn't it, from Potter, but a nice little back flick from Matthias Jensen to bring Potter into the equation to start off with. And I think you'll see at times with Brentford, sometimes they'll play a little bit deeper and then entice Grimsby to come onto them, and then they can go and hit them on the counter-attack whenever they want to.
Just dangerous there for a second as it ricocheted off Dara Burns from Rico Henry's clearance. Got away with it. By the way, David Artell does have a strong interest in forensic science. He's got a master's degree or two. He's pretty meticulous. He'll be poring over the evidence of this first half, David.
I think he'll be doing that after the full-time whistle, never mind at half-time. I'll be interested to hear what his thoughts will be afterwards. Forensic scientist, huh?
Yeah. Said he used to watch Diagnosis Murder and then Murder, She Wrote in the afternoon. Sounds like my student days.
I think I had more to do than watching television in the afternoons, to be honest with you. Maybe concentrate on my football career.
There he is, done a great job here. Very good man-manager. Cares about people, tries to bring in good characters.
He also did a very good job at Crewe as well.
Certainly did. Got them promoted on the third lowest budget in the division. He knows what he's doing. Here's Nelson. Searching ball out to the far side, where Lewis Potter picks it up. Nelson drifting around. That's a strong run and ball. Can't find a Brentford head. And Grimsby clear their lines.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the trouble with Grimsby when they do clear the lines. It just comes back at them straight away.
Onyeka finding more space going forward, noticeably. And that's laid off now for Reiss Nelson. It's 3. And Reiss Nelson is having himself an evening that might be done and dusted. The Premier League side have shown real moments of technical brilliance, and that was evidence once again there. Reiss Nelson on target, and Brentford are 3 goals up.
Well, we're not even at half-time, and you'd have to say now this is game over, you'd think. But again, the way that he's able to shape from the left-hand side, put it onto the right, good little layoff from Potter to start off with, and then eventually when it comes to Reiss Nelson, all he's got to do is put a bit of pace behind the ball, look at the placement. I don't think that Christy Pym really sees it until a little bit late, and by the time he drives, it's actually gone into the back of the net. And you'd think before half-time, this is game over.
Well, they had high hopes, expectations of repeating their heroics from the Manchester United game. Not so. Brentford just showing too much quality. And it's a long way back from here for the League Two side. Lewis Potter. Brentford enjoying themselves now. Nelson again, heavily involved. Jensen scored the first goal. Doesn't quite get that right. But suddenly, every time they come forward, Brentford look threatening. Carvalho now wide again. Great pass for Lewis Potter. Lovely first-time touch and put behind by Lavelle.
Yeah, they're just making it look far too easy now. A lot of gaps appearing at the Grimsby back unit. And you just think this could be 5, it could be 6. It depends on really how far Brentford want to go. Another big game coming up at the weekend against Crystal Palace away. We know there will be a vast amount of changes. And that's what you have to have with your squad rotation.
Now rotations work well so far. That was a header from Arthur, who got there first. Bit of a reality check, this, for Grimsby Town. They've enjoyed themselves in the competition. They've provided great entertainment.
You know, when you look at Christy Pym, for example, he made quite a few saves against Manchester United. He's not had a save to make, and yet he's conceded 3 goals. So you feel a little bit sorry for the keeper.
If you're David Artell, do you stick or twist? You kind of have to twist, but there is a danger of 4s, 5s and 6s here.
There are, but then it's deciding who to actually put onto the field of play. We know that he's made changes from the last game against Crewe. He did say about players who wouldn't be particularly happy, but it's not just all about this one game. It's about what's going to happen in League Two at this present time. As you're right to say, they're in a playoff place. They're 6th in the table. We know results haven't gone well for them. I think the last win they had was against Gillingham, but Gillingham had a man sent off that day. Big game, as you're right to say, coming up against Ebbsfleet at the weekend at home. And I think he's just got to go and instill a little bit of belief back into his players. And when you look at the players, there's good players playing for the black and white at this moment in time. There's players I really like, Dara Burns, Kieran Green. I like Harvey Rogers, especially down this right-hand side. You mentioned about the technicalities of McEachran as well. And when you have like the likes of Charles Vernon as well, you've got goal scorers, and Kabia. I know he's not really had much opportunity in his half, but he is a goal scorer in League Two.
It's that old cliche that goals really do change games, and so it's proved tonight. Just sucked the life out of Grimsby, who started so well. And once Matthias Jensen found the bottom corner, the game has been transformed, and Brentford now very much in the ascendancy. And it's going to be hard for Grimsby to wrestle back some control as the half-time whistle goes. It's been a tough watch for those home supporters. They can be proud of the effort their teams put in, but that strike from Matthias Jensen really did alter proceedings. Lovely strike from the edge of the box. Then Reece Nelson setting up Keane Lewis Potter for a header at the back post. And suddenly Grimsby were 2 goals down. And then Nelson himself with an excellent third goal. He's had a good 45 minutes, Reece Nelson. And Brentford really are in cruise control now. What can Grimsby do? What can David Artell do to change it? Can they do anything? For the home side, Brentford with a little too much quality, far too clinical in those key moments. And how do Kieran Green and his side find a way back into the contest? Is it possible even? Looks a real long shot. Didn't do too much wrong in that first half, but such is the difference in quality. The game's all about levels. And you wonder what David Artell has said at half-time, what changes he can implement. Just dropped off in terms of energy and belief after those goals, understandably, of course. Need to somehow regain some control. A goal would help that, of course. Do have options on the bench. You also wonder what Brentford might do in terms of their changes. Lots of first-teamers they could call upon, do they? Or do they leave those players on that have done so well in that opening 45 minutes?
Well, in respect to Brentford, I think the 2 players that they might be looking to bring on are Ramel Donovan and Vitaly Janelt, who won't really start, I wouldn't think, at the weekend against Crystal Palace. So potentially Tuara would be one of those to come off.
Yeah, Tuara's been so effective with Kevin Schade and Thiago, of course. Both those 2 are on the bench tonight. May well want to save his legs for the weekend. Could always push Carvalho a bit further forward. All that to play out in this second 45 minutes. It's been quite a journey, whatever happens, and these supporters have loved it. Been a long time since they've had too much to shout about in these parts, but there's a real pride in this team, and there should be tonight as well. Gone about their work well, but it's Brentford who continue to push forward in search of more goals. And you wouldn't be surprised if a 4th comes. Here's Onyeka, not a regular goal scorer. Benjamin Arthur, who's forward from the back. That was Nelson, now Carvalho. Oh, that's good from Darragh Burns again. He's been impressive. Has played in League One with MK Dons. Came through with St Patrick's Athletic in Ireland. Technically, looks a decent player.
Yeah, I like him. At times you can see that he can either go left, he can go right. He's got a wand of a left foot. Produced that great cross for Curry towards the far post, where I believe that he should have done a little bit better. The one person for me really hasn't shown as much as what I would have anticipated is Vernon. But sometimes you have to get the ball, don't you? Same as Cabia. I don't think they've had a lot of options or opportunities when the ball's come to them, or it's not come to them at all. So it might be one of those that you have to go and play that ball a little bit quicker out to him. We know technically how gifted a player he is.
Good idea again by Nelson, who is growing in confidence. And it's all Brentford so far in this second half. Corey comes forward. Now here is Vernon, who has been quiet. Disappointing night for him so far. Hasn't been able to recreate that magic from the Manchester United game. Here's Ouattara. Now Lewis Potter. So much space now for the Premier League side to play in. Grimsby just sitting a bit deeper, aren't they?
And this is sometimes what happens when you're in the ascendancy. You make the pitch as big as possible, as long, as wide. And I'm sure that's what Keith Andrews will be saying to his players. You don't have to go dribbling the ball too many times. Look at the one touch, two touch. Let them start moving around, and eventually we'll start picking them off.
They've reached the semi-finals of this competition back in 2021. They are on course now for the quarter-finals, and then who knows, anything's possible after that. Plenty of big hitters though left in the competition. Liverpool, Chelsea. So lots of work to do. You know, they will fancy themselves for a last four spot, and who knows, maybe more. Harvey Rogers, who's done pretty well in the main at right back. Not been too many bad performances really among the Grimsby ranks. Used the ball fairly well, lots of good ideas and invention. But facing a Premier League side with that kind of quality, you get punished for the smallest mistakes. It was McYannet who rather gave away the first. And from there, the game really changed. And the whole complexion now is entirely different. Brentford so comfortable. And Grimsby need to feed off mistakes like that. Here's Corey breaking forward. Now Green. A rare flourish forward in this second half from the home side. Just lifts those supporters.
Yeah, just a poor ball, wasn't it, from Matthias Jensen. Got picked off. And all of a sudden that could just give a little bit more confidence to the home side. And you just wonder if they can get a goal back as soon as possible, the amount of confidence that would give them and belief.
Very eclectic group of characters in this Grimsby squad. They use a data-driven model themselves, to find players and recruit players, guys from the Faroe Islands, Iceland, Scotland, Bognor Regis Town, Truro City, David, you name it. They've come from everywhere.
Well, I think you find that with most clubs nowadays, don't you? And so you can look at, as you see, Benjamin Arthur just coming onto the ball now.
Ball in is from Arthur to the far post, where Reece Nelson picks it up. We'll continue that point in a moment. As Rico Henry finds Nelson again, and now Jensen. That's a clever ball inside for Rico Henry. And it might run for Carvalho. Was he pushed? It is a penalty for Brentford. It looked pretty clear-cut. It was Fabio Carvalho breaking forward.
But again, the understanding there, it must have been an early shout from Carvalho to Keane Lewis Potter to leave that ball. And there you can see straight away the connection from Curry. And this is the opportunity. If it wasn't game over in the first half with the 3 goals, if they score this one, it definitely will be.
Tired legs and maybe tired minds as well. And Fabio Carvalho has the chance to score from the spot and make it 4 against Christy Pym. He managed to save 1, of course, in the shootout against Manchester United. Can he make him a name for himself here again? Carvalho against Pym, and Carvalho scores.
Yeah, a lot of pace behind that. Taking penalty. You can see there with Christy Pym. He's done his homework, knows exactly which way to go. Good penalty, good composure. Has a look to start off with. Just seeing where Christy Pym's going to go. But there you can see with the outstretched arms, even the goalkeeper can't reach that one. 4-0 and game over.
A rousing response, though, from the home side, who are in fine voice, getting behind their team despite the scoreline. Now Fabio Carvalho makes it 4 from the spot. There is surely no route back now for Grimsby Town. It's been quite a ride, but it's coming to an end this evening. Brentford have been too sharp, too knowing, too clinical, and we still have over half an hour to play.
Well, the one thing that you'd have to say with Grimsby, with the run that they've had, they would have got a lot more of a fan base going around the world for the result against Manchester United. People will be looking at that result and saying, well, who are Grimsby? Where are they? Where are they in England? And so they've had a lot more followers. Plus, you have to look at the revenue as well, the amount of money that they've earned during the course of this run as well. That will certainly help them in their campaign, really, to get promoted this year.
They do look a side who are well equipped for some kind of promotion campaign, sitting in 6th place at the moment. Certainly a good footballing side. Look well coached, don't they? Here's Rico Henry. Well, this is tough now for Grimsby Town. Really tough. Got to stick at it. Just keep working hard for their supporters, but these are tough moments, aren't they?
Yeah, I must say, we talk about damage limitation, don't we? And really, you don't want to be losing 6 or 7. But as we know, with recent results that Brentford have had, they've just lost the 1 in their last 4. That's to Manchester City. They've beaten Man United. They've beaten West Ham. They've beaten Liverpool. And we know that Brentford are an excellent Premier League side. 11th in the table at this moment in time. But you can see with the side that they put out today, they've got a great squad.
A raft of changes for the home side. Jamie Walker, one of those who is coming on. Harvey Rogers, you saw going off. Jason Svan Thorsen, the Icelandic player, is another of those who will make an entrance. Scored 2 goals at the weekend. Jamie Walker. That's Gezaturi, Faroe Islands international, coming on. I told you they had an eclectic mix of players. He was actually on the bench for their 4-0 win over Montenegro recently. Famous Faroese victory that was. Comes on here for the last half an hour or so. Just getting up to speed with those changes. For you, Dara Burns going off. Jason Svan Thorsen coming on, who is a wide player, the Icelandic. Gezaturi on for George McEachran. Gezaturi in the action early on. Jamie Walker might have started tonight, been a mainstay of the team, but Evan Curry preferred. So Walker gets just over half an hour to try and make an impact, albeit in a lost cause. Not easy.
I think he would have been one of those players that when David Artell named his starting lineup and he wasn't in it, he would have been very disappointed, especially scoring 2 goals against Crewe at the weekend. Thought he did really, really well. As you mentioned before, 4 so far in the season. But as David Artell has already mentioned, it's not just about tonight's game. It's about for the whole of the season. And they want to put themselves into a situation where they are looking to get promoted.
Tyrell Warren also came on, by the way, in case you missed that. Kieran Green going off. Changes also for Brentford. Kevin Schade coming on, so they will give minutes to one of their real frontline attackers. And Nathan Collins, the captain, also makes an entrance. Surprising.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that they brought on Collins and Schade, especially with the games at the weekend against Crystal Palace. But I know sometimes you go and travel all that distance. You don't really want to be sitting on the bench. You want to go out and play. But Kevin Schade, another good season. Did really well last year as well. Great pace. One of the quickest there at Brentford. I remember when they were on the speed clock last year, that he was the quickest player that they had. And now when you look at Mbomo and Visser going off, there's more impetus on players like Schade to go and perform. Thiago as well, who's come into the side and done particularly well.
Also on the bench tonight, Thiago, yeah, he's been excellent. Top goal scorer. Might see him at some point, but yeah, Schade, Ouattara and him. The impact, the loss of Mbomo, Visser, not really been felt too much thus far.
No, it was a classic case when Ivan Toney moved, that everything was going through Ivan Toney, and he was the #1 player, but you looked at Mbomo and Visser, they were playing part-time roles, and then when Toney went, they came into their own last year, scored a bundle of goals. And now those two have moved on. Thiago has come in. The scouting network of Brentford have been absolutely superb. Sharda is performing really, really well. And so are the rest of the squad for Brentford. They've really bought into the system that Keith Andrews is putting into his side.
Here's Vernon. Hasn't seen too much of the ball, has he? Wouldn't they just love a goal to celebrate? It's been a chastening evening for Grimsby Town supporters. Here's Coury to Toure. Trips off the tongue. But Janet, whose mistake led to that first goal. Bit of a game-changing moment there, really. Sweeney is forward, now Vernon. Does well this time, but the cross is way off target.
Yeah, not very good, was it, from Vernon? I know at times that he wants to try and come inside. But you can see straight away with Benjamin Arthur just saying to him, look, if you're going to go down the outside, which is the right thing as a defender. He's not able to just wrap his foot around that ball enough. And I think it's one player who will think that he has underperformed will be Vernon so far this evening. Still got time to go and get a goal.
Yeah, had so much joy down this right-hand side in the first half, didn't they? Not so much down the left-hand side where Vernon's playing. Did have that half chance at the far post. You think back to that Coury header, of course, as well.
Well, I just thought that the combination of Rodgers, Burns and Green down this right-hand side caused all sorts of problems for Rico Henry, because he wasn't being backed up by Reiss Nelson. And something must have been said, and I'm sure that Rico Henry, with the experience that he has, would have said to Reiss Nelson, you need to come back because there's a massive overload against me. And all of a sudden, that area down the right-hand side has been non-existent.
It's not the evening that Grimsby Town supporters had in mind when they woke up this morning, that is for sure. But still, you don't get too many chances to face Premier League opposition. They need to try to learn something from these last 25 minutes or so. Might stand them in good stead for their League Two campaign. Here is Vernon. A bit more ambitious now as the game wears on. Arthur, though, doing really well. Not a right back by trade, but he's slotted in pretty nicely and kept Vernon quiet. Here's Sweeney. Vernon again. Just seeing more of the ball. KBA can't win that. Nelson does just enough. Good pressure from Tyrell Warren in there as well. Just a better spell for the home side. Brentford just dropped off a little. 4 goals in front, they're comfortable, they can afford to do that, why not? That's a nice idea by KBA. It's a little bit too long, but that will be a Grimsby corner. Some confusion about that amongst the Brentford ranks. Nathan Collins, the skipper, who's on. He's had very little to do. Back on Valdemarson. Can they just provide a memory? Something more for these die-hard supporters on a challenging evening by the Humber. That's a good-looking cross and a chance for KBA. It's the first time he's had a chance, a sight at goal. Couldn't quite get it on target.
Well, Janelt does really well, doesn't he, against Lewis Potter. Gets himself towards the byline, brings that ball over to the far post, And Kabia just rises above Onyeka. And I think he'll be disappointed, really, that he's not hit the target. He's put that one agonisingly wide for Grimsby.
More Brentford changes. And certainly one that we expected, which is Ramel Donovan, who's the exciting 18-year-old they signed from Birmingham. He is coming on. And Vitaly Janelt as well, it looks like. Janelt is on for Onyeka. Highly experienced player, of course. Been with the club a long time, very dependable. Central midfield player, can play right back as well, can play anywhere really. He's that type. And Ramel Donovan, who we'll talk about, but I have high hopes for him.
Well, the one thing that we have to say about Ramel Donovan, he had a good time at Birmingham City, went for some decent money to Brentford, but really not really had much of a look in so far, has he, the 18-year-old?
No, it was very impressive for the B team last season. Lots of goals and assists, and promoted to the first team setup. Yeah, he's one they think very highly of. Technically very good, quick too. Here is Kabia, who's pulled out wide. Touch for Warren. Vernon couldn't get it back. And Tyrell Warren just slotted into midfield by the looks of things. Naturally a centre-half, really, or right back.
I think he'll be one of those players as well who'll be disappointed not to have started. There was a slight speculation that he picked up a little bit of a knock at the weekend. But I'm a great believer that if you're on the bench, you're fit enough to play.
He's a tough man, David Phillips. Takes no prisoners. He is on though. Tyrell Warren scored against United, didn't he? United fan. And that is Arthur, who is down and might need treatment. No, he's okay, I think. He's certainly impressed on his second start for the club. Might be making way here, though, by the look of things. And Michael Coyote is going to come on. That could spell more trouble for Grimsby. It's the long throw specialist. We saw what he could do against Liverpool. And he will just slot in at right back in place of Benjamin Arthur.
Well, he's definitely picked up a muscular injury, hasn't he? For him to pull up like that and to bring on Michael Coyote. There's a quick word with the manager, Keith Andrews, just asking questions, what has he done? But I'm sure that Andrews won't want to be playing any more first-team players. As I said, with a massive game against Crystal Palace. There you go, going into the change room. Go and have a look at him, get some ice on it.
Not showing too much sympathy here, are they, Brentford, with the changes? Kevin Schade on, Michael Coyote, Vitaly Janelt. Good, experienced Premier League players. Front-line players, really. Nathan Collins.
And that's what I'm saying. They've got an excellent squad. You have a look at the side that came out. 9 changes from the game against Liverpool. I'm sure they'll make 9 changes again at the weekend.
And that's a good piece of defending by Tyrell Warren. All those changes tend to affect the flow, don't they, of a side's work. Here's Carvalho. Janelt. in there. Here's Kabia, still working hard. And now a chance again for Brentford to break. Lewis Potter it was, trying to thread that one through. Jan out busy. Just under 20 minutes remaining. And all Grimsby can do is stick to the task, keep working hard. And there's an equaliser for Wrexham. Kiefer Moore on the score sheet in the Welsh derby. Some distance between them, but it is a derby of sorts, I guess. Now here is Ramel Donovan. First real touch for him. Crossfield passes by Jensen. Strong challenge between Warren and Rico Henry. Lavelle. What should be Brentford's ambitions this season, David, in this competition in the Premier League? How far should they be looking?
Well, now they're going to be into the quarter-finals. It all depends on who they're going to be pitted up against. But I know, talking to Neil McFarlane, who's on the coaching setup for Brentford, they'll be looking to go as far as they can in this competition.
Great burst forward by Donovan, and a lovely pass too for Shada. Good early impressions from Ramel Donovan.
Yeah, good movement from Donovan down this right-hand side. And you can see the pace that he's got.
Oh, Nathan Collins is forward. So too Ethan Pinnock. There'll be a handful. It's Matthias Jensen with the corner again. May well still be more goals in this for the Premier League side. And there is. It's 5. And it's Nathan Collins, the captain, on a substitute. And the evening goes from bad to worse for Grimsby Town.
Well, again, we say about set plays, especially for Brentford. You can see the movement from Nathan Collins. All he's got to be put is the right type of ball from Matthias Jensen. There's a couple little blocks in there which allows Nathan Collins just to get that extra half a yard. There you see, he's up against Warren. He's able to just outmaneuver him, outstrength him, and then towards the near post, heads that ball home comfortably.
Still so fired up, Brentford, through their captain, Nathan Collins, the goal scorer, as Grimsby prepare to make another change. It's Danny Rose who's going to come on, the striker. And as for Charles Vernon, no real surprise that he's gone off, actually.
No, that's the one player I've been a little bit disappointed with. But I'm sure that he'll just put this to the back burner. Sometimes players, as footballers you have these days, and it doesn't go your way, but I'm sure back at the weekend against Ebbsfleet, he'll be back to where he has been so far this season. I mentioned 6 goals, 5 assists, having a really good season.
There's Donovan again, looks a real handful, doesn't he? Just tries to burst one way than the other. Not the guy you want to see coming on when you're 4-0 down, now 5, and that's a free kick he's won for his side as well.
Yeah, he's very tricky, isn't he, Donovan? We know he's primarily left-footed. Can go either way. He's just a little bit too quick, a little bit too sharp there for Cameron McJanet. First yellow card of the game.
Lovely spin by Donovan. Done some good work in his short time on the pitch, and a yellow card, as David says, for Cameron McJanet.
But you know how good a game this is? We've hardly seen the referee. That says something, doesn't it?
Jensen over the free kick. Might there be a sick this time? Grimsby do enough. Heavy challenge in there by Toure. Sven Thorsen breaking forward. The Icelandic wide player who's not seen too much of the ball since coming on. Well, you would hope they'll learn a lot from the experience. It's not been pleasant for them, but I'm sure the supporters will take it with good humour. Can't take that Manchester United night away from them. The trip to Hillsborough as well in the last round. It's been more than they could have expected or hoped for. But this has been a reality check against a very good Brentford side. As Pinnock goes in rather clumsily and gives away the free kick.
Yeah, good movement this time from Cavia into that channel. Ethan Pinnock not quite sure. That should have been a free kick. But even so, this gives an opportunity for Grimsby just to maybe get a consolation goal.
Yep, just one would be something to take away, wouldn't it? Not much of a consolation when you're 5-0 down, but Cavia just ambling into the box. He's found it hard going tonight. He has stuck at his task. And Sven Thorsen and Sweeney stand over it. Just over 10 minutes remaining. Sweeney plays that one to the outside of the box for Walker. Tried to curl one, place one. It was blocked. And Corey has to go all the way back to Christy Pym, who's not really been that busy, funnily enough. Not had too many saves to make, despite the scoreline, oddly.
No, I'm saying, but that's football sometimes. You know, I can remember, you're not going to believe this, but I can remember getting beat 7 at Blackburn. I think they had 7 shots on target and Brian Gunn didn't have a shot to save. It was just one of those games, and it's one of the games that Christy Pym is having tonight. How many times has he had to come across and collect a ball from across? He hasn't had to do that. How many saves he had to make? None. But Brentford, they've just been ruthless, haven't they? They've been very clinical. 2 good adjectives for Brentford this evening.
Yeah, great word, ruthless. Perfect for the way that Brentford have been tonight as Jamie Walker comes forward. Might be a chance for him just inside the area, but closed out by Coyote and gives away the free kick. The captain, Kieran Green, was saying in the build-up to this game that they looked at Brentford and they offered such a threat, not just technically in football terms, but how robust, how physical they were as well. And the goals have kind of proved that tonight. $8,637 is the attendance this evening at Blundell Park.
Well, that looks as if 1174 have come from Brentford. If that is the case, that is a magnanimous gesture to travel all the way up there. I hope they've got their fish and chips organised for the way home, because they are one of the best fish and chips in the country. There are other places in the country which do good fish and chips, but I will say, first-hand knowledge, Grimsby, superb.
David Phillips' cooking series coming to a TV screen near you soon. Heard about the Brentford Media Lounge, now the fish and chips at Grimsby.
Are you trying to say something? It's not the case. Yeah. I'm easy to please.
Well, the dying embers of this game. Not easy for David Artell to pick the bones out of this one. He will take the positives from the run they've had, the victories they've had against Manchester United, those great moments, the win at Hillsborough, of course.
It's a very difficult one, because do you want to bring your side in and put them through 90 minutes of what they've done? What I would do as a coach is sit them in and watch the first 18 or so minutes, because in the first 18 or so minutes they were there, they were in this game. They were very progressive into the final third. Yes, the final third is where they struggled, but in possession-wise, they were impressive. And it's really against the run of play where Matthias Jensen gets that goal that all of a sudden it's just unfolded, isn't it? Or folded. And it's such a shame, but that is what Brentford's been all about this season. Great form, as I mentioned, throughout the last 4, beating some heavyweights in the Premier League. And that's what I would do if I was David Artell. Show him the first 17, 18 minutes and show his side, his squad, how good they were.
Yeah, that Matthias Jensen goal certainly took a lot of life out of Grimsby, a lot of belief. Spaces began to open up, the goals came, and it's really got tougher from that point onwards. Just a case now of seeing out the game and moving on to Ebbsfleet here on Saturday in the FA Cup. It'll be a different atmosphere, different experience. That's a lovely long ball forward for Kevin Schade, who is offside.
Well, sometimes players get booked for that, but with Kevin Schade, you don't really need to be on the shoulder. You've got enough pace. But you have to say that was a terrific ball.
Whatever happens now, they can't take those memories away. The Christy Pym save from Cunha, Tyrell Warren goal against his former club, that great Charles Vernam strike, the win away at Hillsborough. Moments that will live long in the memory for Grimsby Town supporters, and they've had it pretty tough, as we've said, down the years. Twice dropped out of the Football League, came back both times. Paul Hurst getting the job done, and David Artell now evolving the club. There is definitely a sense of hope, a sense of possibility. And that is what clubs like Grimsby and their supporters really need. That's won by Jan Elt. Forward by Carvalho. It's Lewis Potter on the overlap. Stays on his feet. And still Brentford get bodies forward. There's no quit in them, despite being 5 goals up. Ruthless was the word that David used, and he was spot on. Still they come. That's good football. Lewis Potter does well. Couldn't quite find Kevin Schade. Might come for Jan Elt. Not this time.
No, really disappointing from Jan Elt, but in respect of Keith Andrews, the last thing we want to be doing is conceding a goal when you're 5-0 up. You talk about injuries, don't really want to pick up an injury, despite that Benjamin Arthur just walked off. I think that might be a slight concern, but not being disrespectful, I don't think he would be involved in the starting lineup against Crystal Palace anyway. So there will be a lot of positives for Keith Andrews if it stays exactly the same. No injuries, clean sheet. And that'll give them a little bit more momentum as they've accrued in recent times.
Yeah, it's another night that enhances the growing reputation of Keith Andrews. He's been so impressive in his dealing with the media and, of course, results on the pitch as well. So calm and collected, isn't he? Speaks well. And he's putting together a pretty good team here, of which Romel Donovan might be a part of going forward. Here he is again. This time can't find the pass. Like the look of Romel Donovan, that is for sure. Yeah, he's coming on late in the game against a League Two side with tired legs. It'll be a very different story in the Premier League should he get his chance. But still, he looks bright. Very highly thought of at Birmingham, who were extremely sorry to lose him. Sweeney with the throw. That was forward by Toure. Been quiet since coming on. just putting in a shift. Not too much possession for Grimsby now. Jensen run the game, really, isn't he? Matthias Jensen's dictated play. Good footballer, technically good, intelligent, knows the game, understands the game. Now Coyote, one of the substitutes. Can't find Sharda. Now comes out for Jensen. Thought about going for a second. Instead picks out Donovan. Coyote again. And still Brentford come forward. Not quite with the same urgency. Clever again from Donovan. And he's brought down by Sweeney and wins the free kick.
Yeah, he's just a little bit too sharp, isn't he, for Jaden Sweeney. There's a little wry smile as if to say, I've got you in my pocket. I know I'm a little bit younger than you, 5 years. But I tell you what, I've got it. And that's what happens sometimes. You're 5-0 down. You've got somebody trying to be as tricky as that, and you just think, I'm bringing you down. I know it's a free kick. Didn't get a yellow card, but good opportunity here now for Brentford to try and get their 6th.
Cardiff 2-1 up, by the way, against Wrexham. You might have seen that go through just now. It's another set piece. It's Matthias Jensen again. It's pretty relentless stuff, this, from the Bees. We want 6, say the away supporters. Great ball again. Not cleared by Grimsby. And the whistle has gone. Thomas Kirk has seen something in there.
Well, Nathan Collins is saying to the referee, I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it was just a little bit of a pull there, wasn't it?
Very hard to see what Thomas Kirk has seen there. Nathan Collins penalised.
Yeah, I think it's because when McJanet went onto the ground, I think there was just a little bit of pull of a shirt, which McJanet went down quite easily, but the referee was in a good position to see that.
See, the ex-pros see these things that us mere commentators can't. That's why you're here, David. As Sweeney getting forward, he might regret that as Donovan tries to go past him. This time, though, puts too much weight on the ball.
Well, we know that it doesn't look good for the home side, Grimsby, but you have to say they've had a fantastic run in this competition, beating Shrewsbury at home, Manchester United in penalties, and then going away to Hillsborough to beat Sheffield Wednesday. But really, they've got to get themselves back into league form. As I mentioned, form hasn't been great recently, just the 1 victory in 4. Got a game against Ebbsfleet at the weekend, and then back to League 2 the following week. And I'm sure that Artell will be given a lot of praise here to Brentford Football Club, because they've been very professional, they've been very well organised. And as he said, the one word was established. And the way that they've established themselves here tonight, they've been very professional, not being disrespectful to Grimsby, but they've come here and they've gone and done a job.
They certainly have. Just the 2 minutes of added time. One of those has elapsed already, so nearly there. Donovan once again battling for it. He has Turi for company. Low centre of gravity. Sharp on the turn, isn't he? And wins the free kick. Yeah, he's a prospect, all right. Searching ball for Kevin Sharda. Might there be a late 6th? That is behind by Carvalho.
Yeah, good movement from Sharda. Then eventually brings that reverse pass into Carvalho, and he'd be disappointed that he hasn't hit the target.
Been pretty lively tonight. Fabio Carvalho got his goal, the penalty. Well, listen to that noise around the ground. Some fans have left, of course, but the home supporters sticking with them. The Brentford fans, of course, who have travelled en masse, delighted. And Keith Andrews just keeps getting the job done, doesn't he? Brentford go from strength to strength. Changes en masse tonight, but they have run out more than comfortable winners. Jensen, of course, with that lovely strike for the first goal, really did change the game, because Grimsby began with some momentum and belief. Carvalho on the score sheet as well, that penalty. Nathan Collins, the captain, who came on as a substitute with that headed effort. Really was a difficult evening for the Mariners, who have enjoyed so much success, had such a great run in the competition. Tonight was a step too far. Brentford were professional, they were clinical, they took their chances, and there was just no way back for Grimsby. They simply didn't have the tools to do the job tonight. They met their match, and there's no disgrace in that. They've conducted themselves superbly well, but it's Brentford's evening, and they deserve all the praise for a highly professional display. Keane Lewis Potter with that second goal, the header at the far post, played well, didn't he? Always does. And David Artell, well, he can be rightly proud of what he's achieved, what his team have achieved. You can see the good work he's doing here. You can see what a good coach he is. Fans recognise that. Tonight just wasn't their night, but there may be better evenings to come. For Brentford, well, they've not won a major trophy in their 136-year history. They are through to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. What next for them? They look a well-drilled, well-organised group of real quality, and they can be well pleased with their evening's work in front of those following supporters. It's a long old journey home, but they can wonder about who they might meet in those quarter-finals. Got to the semis, of course, back in 2021. Can they go one better? Certainly looks like everything is in place for them. Impressive night's work from Keane Lewis Potter and co. There's no giant killing this evening. Brentford just